As they awoke, they screamed in unison at the sight of 3 new dead bodies, and the traitor masterfully joined in.
Something's hunting us, and we're sitting ducks here. We can't see shit in the darkness, so we'd be even worse off out there. Something's taking us out like it's a game, and there's nothing we can do about it.
At that exact moment, from an unknown force, Mizu was pulled away screaming into the darkness.
Mizu!
Then shortly after, the same happened to Steve.
Steve, no!
Liz started hyperventilating again, and for a brief moment, nothing happened. Until suddenly, without warning, a large halberd shot out from the darkness, piercing through Carrie's heart and killing her on impact. Whatever was holding the spear then yanked her corpse away from the light, leaving the 2 remaining friends screaming the loudest either of them had ever screamed in their lives. Carrie's worst fear was realized as she met her demise. 4 friends remained. 2 were missing.
Everything is nice.
What are you doing?
Everything is cold.
Hey, what are you... Ow!
Everything is peaceful until you're
Ow! George. Oh my God.
Klaus and Liz stopped screaming and huddled close together, crying softly in each other's arms. There was a bit of an eerie quiet for a short while, and they were able to control their breathing and start to calm down. They found comfort in each other's friendly embrace, and were able to find a little bit of peace that they had been lacking for quite a while. But this ended when a shadowy figure jumped out of the darkness and lunged forward to rip Klaus out of her arms. They tried to hold on to each other, and he frantically screamed for his life as he fought to stay, but it was no use. He was dragged away screaming into the darkness to rejoin the ranks of his missing friends. 4 friends remained, but 3 were missing. Liz sat on the illuminated ground, hugging her knees and crying into them. She was all alone. All was mostly quiet, but far from peaceful. She was terrified, too afraid to move and too afraid to stand up or even to open her eyes. As she sobbed while feebly trying to comfort herself, all was mostly still, except for her muffled sobbing, the soft cracking of the fire burning behind her, and her own heartbeat. pierced through the silence. It wasn't just gurgling, it was gurgling, profuse choking, and what sounded like water forcefully hitting the ground somewhere in the darkness. The choking was becoming more severe. The gurgling was mixed with choked screams, and the water was falling even harder, until it stopped. The gurgling was gone. The choking had ceased. The muffled screams were no more, and for a while longer, all was despicably quiet, for the most part. The fire crackled softly, and her breathing slowed again, but all was far from peaceful. Then there was another soft thud that broke the silence, as the newly drowned corpse of Klaus was added to the pile. Liz let out a startled scream, but it was a much quicker one this time, as she then broke into tears of grief and hopelessness. She sat all alone in the open, crying to herself profusely, and hyperventilating yet again. Klaus's worst fear had been realized as he drowned on the dark, unforgiving floor. 3 friends remained, but 2 were missing. Really struggling to calm down this time, Liz passed out due to stress. Meanwhile, Steve was left all alone in the dark. His legs were free, but he was blindfolded, and his hands were tied behind his back. He was left to roam helplessly and far away from the scene of the burning cross, when no one could hear him scream. The darkness was draining his life essence, and his screams became more and more feeble, until he couldn't scream at all. His worst fear had come true, and he died stranded in this otherworldly abyss. 2 friends remained. 1 was missing. Group 2 was gone, and the cultists were pleased as Mizu Hanamichi informed them that the deed was almost done. Shiatsu